In this lecture, we will learn how to make new planes that are 1. Different than the base 3 planes, the front, top, and right, and 2. Different than any other surface from a feature. We will create the following model in which we will create additional planes. However, we have to ask what specifies a plane. If we mix geometry and modeling using software like SolidWorks, we can come up with 7 ways to specify a plane. This includes using 3 points or vertices that are not in a straight line, a line and a point or an edge and a vertex, 2 lines, other planes or faces, a plane and a line, a plane and a point, and a plane and a curve. So let's go ahead and start creating this model and then play around with creating additional planes. Okay, let's go ahead and start creating the model. We will pick the right plane and start by creating the gate shape. So I'm going to start by doing a rectangle, and then I'm going to do an arc like this, and then I will change this line to construction line because I don't really need it in the model. This dimension here is 7 inches, and this dimension here is 9 inches. So this sketch is fully defined. Let's use the offset quantity to create the other shape. So I'm going to use offset, and I'm going to set the offset to be 1 inch from the drawing, and then I'm going to click on this line and then click OK, and we have our first shape. So now I'll go ahead and do a boss extrude for a value of 5 inches, and we have just finished creating our base shape. From the drawing, we can see there is a partial hole here at the top. In order for us to do this, we need to have a plane. However, there is no plane here at the top. There is this curved surface, and we cannot use this to create a sketch. So what we can do in this situation is to create a new plane for us to have a sketch and then to have a cut extrude. So if we go to the features and go to the top, there is a reference geometry tab. If we click on it and then choose plane, on the left you see there are 3 fields. Those fields specify the references of a plane. Those can be one of the 7 ways to specify a plane which we mentioned at the beginning. So let's go ahead and create a new reference plane for our extruded cut feature. This time I want the plane to be in the top, so I am going to use a surface and a curve to specify my new plane. So for my first reference, I can click on this face here, and then for my second reference, I can click on this curve in the top. And then go back to the left, and you'll see our first reference, the face. We can specify, should our new plane be perpendicular to the face, or should it be parallel to the face? We want it parallel, so we're going to click parallel. Now we have a new plane on the top that is tangent to the curve and parallel to this face down here. So this is what we want. You can see a message here telling you this plane is fully defined. So we click OK, and we have a plane. Now let's go ahead and utilize this plane to apply our feature. So we're going to this plane, click on it, and then go to Sketch, and start a new sketch. And now we can draw our rectangle. So I'm going to have a rectangle like this. This side is 2 inches and the other side is 4 inches. Now I'm going to restrain this triangle both vertically and horizontally. I'm going to use construction lines. So I'm going to have a construction line from the center here to the center of the arc, and then another construction line from the other center to the other center of the arc, and then have this line be horizontal and have this other line be vertical. And we have fully defined our sketch. Now we can apply a feature, so we go to features and choose extruded cut, and this dimension here is about 0.8 inches. Click OK, and we have created this hole in the top. To make things cleaner, we can hide the planes once we are done from it. So if you go to the design tree, right click on the plane, and in the top you'll see this glasses icon. If you click on it, you will be hiding the plane. So let's go ahead and start experimenting with other ways of specifying a plane. So I'm going back to the reference geometry, click plane. Let's first try to define a plane using 3 points or 3 vertices. So for the first reference, I can pick any vertex, so I'm going to choose this vertex here. For the second reference, I am going to use this other vertex here. And then for the third reference, I'm going to use this vertex here. And now we have a fully defined plane. If we click OK, you can see that's the new plane we defined. Let's try out a line and a point, or an edge and a vertex. So again, back to the reference geometry, click on plane, and this time I am going to choose this edge here, and then I'm going to use this point right here. Now we have another fully defined plane. We can click OK, and we have 2 additional planes. Let's try out 2 lines. So I'm going back to reference geometry, plane, and then for my first reference, I'm going to click on this line here. And for my second reference, I'm going to click on this line here. And we have a new plane. Click OK. And we have just created 3 different planes. You can always choose any of those planes to draw sketches and apply features. So let's say I want to use plane 4 right here, the last plane we created. So I can click on it, go to sketch, and then click on sketch, go normal to, and then if I draw, let's say, a circle, and then you move again, you move the model, you will see our circle is floating here on the plane. I can apply a feature. Let's say I want to apply an extruded feature. Up to next, click OK. And now we have just applied a feature using our new plane. Let's go ahead and hide those 3 planes. Now let's go ahead and use other planes or faces to define planes. So I can go back to my reference geometry, click on plane, and for my first reference I can click on this face, and as soon as you click on that, you will see a new plane pops in that is fully defined using an offset. And you can see the distance right here, the offset distance. So if you increase this distance, the plane goes further. If you decrease it, the plane goes closer. Let's say I want this to be 5 inches. So I can type in 5 and we have a plane. Another useful way to define planes is to pick two faces. So if I pick this face here, and then I pick this other face on the other side, SolidWorks will automatically create a plane in the middle. Let's try using a plane and a line now. So if I go back to my reference geometry, click on plane, and I can pick this face right here at the bottom, and then I can click on this line here. Again, you get a fully defined that is perpendicular to the face and coincident to the line. We can change the orientation more by clicking on this angle sign right here. So if you click on this angle sign, you will notice we can specify the angle between the line we picked and the face we picked. And notice what happens when you increase or decrease that distance. So let's keep that at 40, click OK, and we have just generated another plane using a face and a line. How about using a face or a plane and a point? Let's try that out. So if I go back to reference geometry, go to plane, and then in my first reference I can choose a face. So I'll choose this face right here, and then in my second reference I'm going to use a point. So I'm going to choose this point right here, and then we get a plane that is parallel to the face and coincident to the point we chose. If you change this relation on the right to perpendicular, you will notice you have another plane. However, this plane is not fully defined, so we have to fully define it. We can do a third reference, say here, and this plane is now fully defined. So we have just tried out almost all the ways you will use to specify a plane. And again, you can use any of the planes we created to have sketches and features. So I can choose this plane right here, choose sketch, and then if I go vertical to that sketch, I can draw another circle and then go apply a feature. I can do the extruded cut, and then let's say I want through all in both sides, click OK. Now we have just applied this feature, extruded cut, utilizing this plane we created.